the Journey podcast. I'm your host, Josh Valentin, and we are excited to bring you to the Jack's Wax Tampa car show. I'm here with serial entrepreneur, my really good friend, Sam Gavin. Yeah. Excited to be here, brother. Thank you so much for the invite. This is a really cool project.
Yeah, it's awesome.
As we have going on here, an amazing turnout. Here doing a trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat tonight, 100%. Yeah.
Nice, sounds good. So thank you for being on the show, man.
Thanks for coming out. Super grateful that you're here. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's crazy because we actually met not too long ago at a networking event.
Yeah, which is crazy,
and when you told me a little bit about what you do, having one of the biggest car shows out here in the Tampa Bay area, you know, I felt like it could be a really cool production setup, and we finally got around to it. Man, give the audience a little bit of your backstory. How'd you get started in the world of entrepreneurship, and how did it all lead to where you are today with all of these amazing things going on?
Yeah, 100%. It's weird because I never thought I would end up here. I'm just a guy from Dublin, Ireland. Basically played soccer my whole life. And I got the opportunity to do a scholarship to Kansas originally. So I ended up there. I always thought I wanted to be like a personal trainer or physical therapist. You know, as things change, as you start to grow, you start to learn about different things, right? So I played D1 soccer in Indiana, and my beautiful wife I met in Kansas, and we got married and moved down here. Spent the day I got my green card, I went into Crunch Fitness and got a job. And my manager showed me one of his paychecks. And now I was one of these people, I didn't grow up with much. My family definitely had a great family and they supported me. But I never thought it would be possible to make more than, let's say, 50 grand a year. Yeah. My boss showed me a 6-figure check from running a gym. And I was like, this is possible? He's like, yeah. So he's like, trust me, follow the path and I will get you there. Wow. And then luckily I was able to grow in Crunch. Did really well, run the biggest gyms, broke a lot of United States records selling personal training. And then I got the opportunity to get out of the rat race, so to speak, and buy Jack's Wax Tampa, and now we're here, I guess.
Wow, that's incredible, man. So Ireland is a beautiful place, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's like one of these more impoverished countries. Yeah. It's a lot of people stay in Ireland. They don't necessarily flock. These days, back in the day, like in America, you know, they were coming in by the masses because of where the country was at the time.
100%.
Why in the world would you leave somewhere beautiful like Ireland to start a life out here in America?
That's such a great question. I always felt different than everybody else. You know, it was weird because I grew up Dublin. Everyone from Dublin is kind of like Conor McGregor, right? We're all very similar. You know, give us a microphone and some whiskey, and it's gonna get wild. But I just saw myself. I saw more. I always really loved American culture, and I just saw America as the land of opportunity, right? And in Ireland, all I saw was you get into a trade job, which is nothing wrong with trade, right? But it was like you play soccer on the weekends and you go to the bar or the pub and you go drinking. Everything is just, there's no one just reaching for more. Everyone's, you know, just, and I don't want to talk bad about it. That's how they like to live their life. But I just saw something bigger and the opportunity for bigger. I just wanted more for myself. But I still call it home. I don't say I have many friends back then because a lot of them, you know, they fell into the alcohol life and had to separate myself. But still grateful. It made me who I am today. So I will say I carry that Irish with me still. Nice. But that was the main reason. I was always different. My friends were doing drinking and the wrong stuff, and I was always separating, going off training and doing that sort of thing.
So what was like the American dream, and how old were you when you originally came to America, and what was the American dream for you at the time?
At the time, so right before I came, to get too personal on the podcast, right before I came, I had a pretty tragic event with one of my friends, and he was in, you know, drugs and stuff like that, and it got pretty bad, and I had an escape to America. It was almost, I got to get away from this life and be like, I don't want to be part of this. It was a crazy car chase where people got hurt, right? And I was looking to get out of it. And I knew I had America. And the dream was just basically to get away and just start a new life, like a new identity. I go to a different country. I can be whoever I want. It doesn't matter what I did in my past. It's like as a man, you get to develop who you are, right? You become the superhero of your own story. So that's really what America did for me. I just saw the opportunity.
That's amazing, brother. So you're now a father, you're a husband. Where did you meet your wife? Like, did you like just meet her when you came out here to Tampa?
So it was actually in Kansas. We've been together technically 10 years. We've been married 4. So nice. I got with her maybe 3 months after I got here.
3 months, wow.
Yeah. It was funny because the first thing she said to me I don't know if I can cuss on the
Oh, you're
podcast.
good. Go for
She
it.
said, "You're an effing asshole." That's the first thing. The reason why I used a bad pickup line, and she turned around, so I was like, "That's my wife, that one right there." She puts up with all my nonsense. But she was the captain of the basketball team. I was captain of the soccer team. We spent every minute with each other. And that's the thing with college. When you live in the dorms, like life moves so fast, right? You're around each other every single day. And we knew what it was like to live with each other before we got married. And
Well, yeah,
we went through
same
all.
here.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So you get to understand what it's like. And she is my rock. She's everything to me. My daughter has made me a completely changed man. I absolutely love. I'm a father first. Or I'm a husband first and a father, and my daughter gives me the best feelings ever when I come home every day.
That's incredible, brother. Yeah. Shout out to your wife and your daughter. And I know your daughter was around here, just in her costume and
She's
everything.
dressed up as Elsa, my wife.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to be Kristoff, but we'll see.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
What did you study in college?
Funny, exercise science originally, but then I got transferred to a college in Indiana, Division I school, and not all my credits transferred. And in order to be eligible, they switched me to general studies.
Wow. Wow.
So technically, I have a general studies degree with like 80% of exercise science. But it's cool to be able to say that I was able to climb the top of sales almost in the whole United States with personal training with a general studies degree.
That's amazing.
So it's
Yeah.
able to use it that way. It's pretty cool.
Why'd you get into sales? You could have went to any job in that field. Why sales specifically? And fitness also. Was the fitness in alignment with sort of like the general studies and also
100%.
soccer?
Yep.
And then that kind of merged into what you were doing?
Yeah, great question. So it basically stemmed from, I always loved fitness. I loved the gym. I used to be a lot bigger. I had like 20 pounds more. But yeah, I just wanted to be a personal trainer. And then they were teaching me the script of how to sell. And I was like, I like this. This is pretty cool. Psychology. My wife has a master's in psychology.
Wow.
So, and I did psychology classes. I was like, people have habits. And if you talk in a particular way, you can almost I won't say make someone make a decision, but you can guide them in a way to help solve problems. Top sales is a solver of problems.
Yeah.
And then I was able to solve people's problems with weight loss and fitness, and then I would change their life.
That's incredible.
Tying the two together was great.
Yeah. So when did you decide to officially leave sales? Because you were obviously really good, even with an Irish accent.
Yeah, even with
the
the
fact
accent.
that you were killing it, it's pretty amazing. But when did you decide that this was it? Like, you wanted to get out just being in traditional sales?
Yeah, it was another instance of I knew I wanted more. I would always be the reason why I believe I was a different manager than most, or why my team was so successful. I had a team that sold $256,000 worth of personal training in a single month in a gym, which a regular gym maybe does 30 to 60. I was always learning, reading new books, watching videos, and trying to apply those in the job. But if it didn't fit the narrative of the company that I was doing, they didn't like it. I was trying to continue to grow, and I feel like my growth had topped out. And then if you want to get into a little bit as well is the rat race a little bit and the hamster wheel that I needed to get out. So I'm sure you know.
So what was your first hustle, like entrepreneurial hustle that you had right out of sales? Did you jump straight into this, or did you explore in other things?
I thought about exploring different things, selling cars, things like that. I got the opportunity to buy Jack's Wax. And the reason why I love Jack's Wax so much, one, the products are great. They're American made. You'll never find them in a Walmart or anything like that. They like that small box setup, so you can meet the customer, really get to know them, and provide value. So I got into Jack's Wax because the opportunity, I saw what it could be as well. With the car show, obviously it's huge. I don't want to continue to grow, but the biggest thing for me right now with Jack's Wax is bringing people together like yourself, right? Meeting you at a network event, I want to give you the opportunity to have a podcast here and grow your business too. I believe if we can all help each other and give, we'll get more back. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But so in terms of the opportunity itself, why this particular model? I know some people, they prefer not to have to do all the beginning work, and that, that kind of helps, right? 100%. And I've always resonated with that style of business. Yeah. Why this particular style as opposed to just starting something completely from scratch?
100%. Yeah, that's a huge difference. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to make, I was making six figures at Crunch. I was getting paid pretty well. People thought I was crazy leaving. Yeah. But it was either start my own thing or buy into a business that was already successful that I believed I could grow.
Of course.
So I just think that is just a better opportunity it skips the, business is difficult no matter what you do. Because I'm even struggling right now with this and it's already set up. But it's just, if you can give yourself a head start and buy into something that already is built, why not do it?
Yeah,
right?
Most definitely. Yeah. What would you say has been some of the most difficult aspects of business? I know we just came from going through 2 hurricanes back to back, and traditional business, brick and mortar businesses, they come with many different challenges.
100%.
One of them having an overhead, whether or not you open up or are closed.
Yeah.
But what have been some of the biggest challenges you've gone through?
I would say so when I worked in personal training, I managed people, right? I had about 30 trainers, and my responsibility was actually not to sell personal training. I would, but I would teach them how to sell, right? So I managed people, and they sold a service, right? So selling a service is way different than selling a product, a physical product where there's profit margin, where there's shipment gets delayed. The biggest challenge is just managing all that. I just got to make sure that the profit margins are right, and rent's paid, which I'm not used to. I'm learning so much. I think it probably would have been easier to start my own thing. Because I'm not inheriting all this debt and all this other stuff.
Of course.
So it's a lot of pressure, but I'm super grateful to be out of the matrix, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you come from soccer. I come from college football.
Awesome, okay.
And my question, because I know as an athlete, there are certain skills, there's certain things you learn along the way, whether it's teamwork or just going out there, being disciplined, hustling. What have been some of the things that have benefited you the most from your background with soccer as it pertains to the business world?
Yeah, I think when you play in a team, especially a team of 11, right, with soccer, you can't play for yourself. You're playing for the rest of the team, right? And then I was usually the captain, so I had to motivate everyone and orchestrate. When people were down, I had to bring them up. And I think that's really it. It's just being able to communicate and help others at the same time. That's the biggest thing you bring from business, communication. If you can't communicate correctly or efficiently, you're not going to go very far in business.
Of course.
I would say that's the biggest thing from sports. And also confidence, right? I think confidence too is when you're good at something in sports, it carries over to everything else.
Of course.
Firm believer of if you want to do well in business, you have to take care of your health. You have to continue to work on your mindset. It's you can't just focus on one thing.
Absolutely.
How you do one thing is how you do everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. So you recently had a daughter, and I know how challenging juggling business, especially when you're dealing with the stresses of business. How has that been for you? Like, how do you and your wife, I know she also is heavily involved with the business side of things. How do you guys juggle that and still preserve the family life?
It's especially as a man, in my opinion, it's like leaving your feelings at the door, or just not forget about them, but you got to put your kids first and your wife first. Me and my wife are the foundation of our entire life, right? If I come home a 50% husband because the business stressed me out, then our foundation is crumbling.
Of course.
I don't care how bad the business day is. My wife is going to get a, hey, how was your day? I love you. Give her a kiss. I put all my stuff second because sure, I have to still look after myself, but I get up at 5 a.m. I do my workouts. I meditate, all that sort of thing. So personally, for me, it's all about my wife. That's it. It starts there. It's funny. She asked me a question the other day. It was your mom, your wife, or your daughter? It's like, who comes first? It was on like Instagram. And my easy answer was like, my wife. Easy.
Same here.
Everyone on Instagram either said their mom or daughter. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, it's crazy. But I owe everything to her. We're a great team. I'm obviously still a good side. I believe a relationship is 100% and 100%. It's not 50-50. You got to both give 100.
Where does that come from? Is it the fact that you grew up with a structured household with a mom and a dad? Did you have that as a solid foundation?
Thank God. I know a lot of people aren't as lucky. Thankfully enough, my parents are still together after almost 30 years, I believe, or 40 years married. So that was definitely a great foundation for sure. Obviously, every family has their problems, right? We had certain things got to work through, but I definitely think that's another reason why too. I have to show my daughter how her boyfriend or her husband should be treating her, right? So if I treat my wife terribly, then what she's going to look for a boyfriend that's not going to treat her right. That's exactly what I firmly believe in. So she sees me working out in the back of the store. I'm hoping to make a lot of money eventually, not right now, but hopefully in the future. So her boyfriend better be ready. But yeah, it comes down to that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. Would you say like when it comes to the business life, and you're stressed out and everything like that? I know you mentioned showing up at 50%, but what do you do to kind of get yourself out of that? Like when payroll is up, or let's just say you have to pay that overhead or that super expensive variable that popped up in the business. How do you turn that switch off and go into family mode?
That's a great question. I will admit there's days that I'm not 100% when I come home. You know, you have to take that minute. We're not perfect, especially as men.
Absolutely.
You know, it's very tough for us. We have a whole lot on our shoulders. So I watch a lot of people online. I've learned a lot. I've always been someone who listens to motivational videos. I personally brainwash myself a lot of the time in the mornings to listen to positive messages. And I think inherently I know you just have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad your day was. Your responsibility as a man is to take care of your family. And the last thing I want to do is to walk in front of my daughter and me blow up or anything like that, and she sees that. And you know, kids are very impressionable.
Absolutely.
So I take that to heart a lot. I think there's not one thing that I do. I think it's what I will say it is taking time for myself early in the morning, especially working out.
So true.
That gets my stress out of the way. So I kill myself in the morning if someone cuts me off in traffic. I don't care. I'm already, you know, my testosterone's out of my system. If that makes sense.
No, I definitely agree with all of that, man.
Yeah.
When it comes to just even juggling, you know, well, you got family life, you have business life, you have all of these different things going on. And when you first start out in entrepreneurship, there may not be much family life, and the hustle is a bit different, right?
It's way different.
Where did your hustle come from then? And would you say family has changed your hustle now, and the way you go about, or the sense of urgency that you have today compared to you, let's just say 5 years ago?
Yeah, it's way different. You know, when you're in the corporate world, in the 9 to 5, you kind of have a safety net, right? You can afford to miss days. Even though I did my best not to and be always on, but you have that safety net. When it's just you and you're an entrepreneur, you have to just go 100 miles an hour all the time. Your brain, you have to be able to do 10 things at once. I don't believe that our mind can only focus on one thing. I think you should be focusing on 10 different things at once, in my opinion. That's the only way to get it done. You saw me running around here. I'm talking to you, trying to get you set up and do 10 different things.
Oh, yeah.
If I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, or what people say, balance, I'd be like, then you freak out.
Yeah.
When you stress out over balance, that's just an additional stress. So when it's time to spend time with your family, be 100%. When it's time to be with your business, be 100%.
Yeah.
Once you start splitting things, it's you're half-assing it, right? You're only giving that percentage to that.
Yeah, most definitely.
But
No, that's so, I mean, so spot on.
Yeah.
What would you say now as we get ready to wrap up here? What's the American dream now for you? Has it evolved? Has it changed? You know?
Funnily enough, I learned how to day trade about 3 years ago.
Nice.
That's my ultimate get out of matrix strategy. I'm doing really well. I'm so close to making. I follow a guy on YouTube, Warrior Trading. He's been phenomenal to teach. And the reason why I want to do that, trading seems to be the only thing I've found that you're not responsible for someone else in terms of like a sale. I don't need to rely on someone else. It's all on me. And the cool thing is, trading is, once you learn it, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's psychology. So once I master myself and the emotions, which ties into business, that's my ultimate goal, is to do day trading. Now, I started doing it during crunch, and my managers didn't like it. They were almost like, they thought I was on my way out. And I'll speak a little bit I want to talk to the 9 to 5 people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being in a 9 to 5. I learned so much.
Absolutely.
Crunch did a great job at getting me to where I was at. I just felt like I was tapped out. But the problem with the 9 to 5 is it's a hamster wheel. And the hamster wheel is the illusion of moving forward, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you're stuck in a 9 to 5, you're going to have to pay your taxes. If you're not getting a raise every year with inflation, I just learned so much in the last couple of years. Like, I want to make $1 million one day.
That's right.
It's not going to happen in a 9 to 5.
Of course.
So I had to find a way out. And that's what I'm currently doing. And I may be the brokest I've ever been right now. I know we got crazy shows going on. I got so much debt. It's crazy. But I see the bigger picture, and I literally sit on it every day, and I meditate, and I pretend to sit in my Lamborghini, and I pretend that my wife has all these things. But anyone who's watching or is out there and has a dream, just jump, like, do it. I was absolutely terrified. I was making 6 figures. I was making the second highest paid personal training manager in Crunch at the time. And no one knew I was going to leave. And I was done. I had to make the decision. It was absolutely terrifying. Please make that jump. Now, should you have a safety net of money? 100%. You definitely want to put a certain amount of money, whatever that means to you, put that aside. But we only live once. And I know it's super cliche to say that, but I want to be able to look back on my life and my daughter, to say, one, she's proud of me. And I think I'm going on a tangent a little bit here, but it's 2 things. I think you should have a goal you're running towards and a goal that you're running away from. The one that motivates me most is the one I'm running away from. That's the one that's in my ear saying, if you don't do this, your daughter is going to say, Daddy gave up because it was hard.
Absolutely.
Or I'm not going to have this dress, or my husband isn't going to provide. Like, it's just all those things that I'm running away from more than the Lamborghinis are cool. They're sick, but I want to provide a life for my wife and daughter that they never have to worry about money ever.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
I respect that so much, brother.
Yeah.
I know the entrepreneurial path is tough, and you know it's interesting because the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, like you mentioned, you can be the brokest you've ever been, but you have the ability to really turn things around. Whereas with work, you're trading time for dollars, so
100%.
the income is pretty much very predictable.
100%.
And a mentor of mine once said that a salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. And I remember what it was like for me leaving a six-figure career to go full time, and it's scary as hell. And you go through all of the challenges, but at the end of the day, you're taking a chance on yourself, man, and that's a noble thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to ask you as we close out, if there was any piece of advice you could leave with your daughter, if it all ended today and you had to leave her a piece of advice that she'll watch for years and years, what would that be?
You're gonna make me tear up on a podcast. It's weird because it's so simple. If I want to leave my daughter, like it's not nothing cliche, or it's like I did my best. Like that's it. And it's weird. I'm choking up. It's like I'm trying so hard every single day.
Yeah.
Like blood, sweat, and tears. Like people don't know what it takes. Like people think like the people in the 9 to 5. Like, you know, you watch the motivational videos, the Alex Hermosis, and they think it's hard. It sure is hard in the 9 to 5. But as soon as you jump out on your own, it's just you. And you may have your wife, your daughter. You may have, you know, a network, but when you're alone by yourself, that is the toughest part. And I'm trying really hard, so I just want her to know that I'm doing everything I can for her, and that's it. Like it's
that's beautiful, man.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I tried, babe. I'm trying.
I appreciate that, and I know what that's like, and it can be dark, a lot of dark days. And I commend you, brother, for fighting the good fight, and I know the weight that business comes with, and you know, it's commendable, you know, to see another young brother going after his dreams, and to come from Ireland and be here in America, and this is influence, man.
It's crazy.
This kind of makes up for the dark days. This makes up for those moments where you're trying to figure out how you're going to make ends meet, and to be able to put smiles on people's faces and to be able to give back to the community. I'm sure when you look back at it, you know, you can say the sacrifice was worth it. So
100%. I don't know what else I would do and what I'd be doing. I just believe in giving it your all. We only live once, and why not? What's the worst that could happen? If you're alive and you're kicking and breathing, you can always figure it out.
Most definitely. And if there's any last piece of advice you would give the audience, what would that be?
Last piece of advice: work on yourself first. Always be learning in your fitness. If your fitness isn't in check, that's going to hinder everything else. And you got to get your mind right first spiritually, whether you believe in God or not. You got to find something spiritually and just continue to learn. And I will say, give before taking. Meet as many people as you can. You're only one relationship away from your next big break. Keep meeting. I met Coach D, and then I was introduced to the man himself, Josh. So just you're only one relationship away from the big move.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Gavin, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was so awesome.
This was really, really awesome. I know we had a little bit of time. Hopefully we can get you back on the show when it's not so crazy, but I know you have an entire event going on. So
I really appreciate
thank you so much for being on the show, brother. And man, I commend you, brother. I commend you. You know, great job of what you've been able to help create here, and we appreciate you. Looking forward to having you back on the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, you made me tear up.